Hello, my name is Tracy Allen, and I want to welcome you to Cooking with Some Friends. Hello and welcome to Cooking with Some Friends. I don't know why we think we have to save candies and those things and do them all just at Christmas time when there are other times of the year they're just as good. But anyway, we're doing some of our Christmas candies and I'm doing some ahead, and so I'll make some now and I'll probably end up making some again. And I'm going to show you a simple recipe for microwave peanut brittle. And one of the most important things about making peanut brittle, especially microwave brittle, is that you have everything ready ahead of time. Everything's pre-measured, everything's ready to go. And so I have my cookie sheet that I'm going to spread this out on, and I've buttered it, and I've buttered it well. That way when I put the peanut brittle on it, when it's done and it needs to cool, it's not going to stick to my sheet. I've got my sugar in a bowl. I have 1 cup of sugar. I've measured half a cup of light corn syrup and 1 cup of dry roasted peanuts. And I have my baking soda. I need a teaspoon of baking soda and a tablespoon of butter. And this is in addition to the butter that's on my sheet. I need 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, and I need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So, anyway, that's everything I need. Now, one of the things you need to make sure that you do this in a glass bowl that's plenty big, because when it foams up, once we add our soda at the end, you want to make sure you've got room in there for that. But it needs to be microwave safe. So I'm going to put my corn syrup with my sugar and stir this up. And then I'm going to microwave this for 3 minutes, and I'm going to stir it about halfway through. But you want to make sure you do stir it before you put it in for those 3 minutes, because otherwise it creates a hot pocket right in the middle of it, and it will burn right in the middle. So I've got those two mixed, and from now on I'm using my wooden spoon because this will get so hot. I remember when I was teaching, I would tell my kids when we made peanut brittle to be really careful. This was so hot when it was done that it would blister your skin. And honest to goodness, I had a young man who wanted to test that theory and touched it, and he was so shocked when he came out with a blister. Anyway, microwave 3 minutes, stirring halfway through. Okay, at the end of your 3 minutes, you're going to stir the peanuts in, and then we're going to microwave for another 3 minutes. And again, I would recommend that you stir halfway through. So we've done that for 3 minutes. Now it's time to add our butter, our salt, and our vanilla. Our tablespoon of butter. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and our teaspoon and a half of vanilla. Now this time when I put it back in the microwave after I get this stirred in, I'm going to go for a minute and then check the color. It should start turning a golden brown. If it isn't to the right stage at that point, we'll put it back in, but we want to go about 30-second intervals at that point if we need to. Okay, all we have to do now that it's a golden brown, is put in our soda, and we need to work quickly and get this onto our tray after we get that in. And it will foam up some as you stir in the soda. Okay. The bowl is hot, so I want to make sure that you have a hot pad. Spread it fairly thin. And once you're all the way done with this, you're gonna wanna put your bowl and your spoon and those things in to soak in hot soapy water so that it will come clean. Okay. Not very thick because it'll just make it harder to chew. Okay, now all we have to do is let it cool, and then we'll break it apart. Hello and welcome to Cooking with Some Friends. I'm getting ready to make another dessert for an event we have coming up, and I chose to make the coconut cake that I make because about the only time I can make it is when I take it someplace, since my husband and none of my sons like coconut. So anyway, I've got my oven preheating to 350. I also have my 2 cake pans prepared. I sprayed them, cut out wax paper. You can use parchment, and put those in the bottom, and then I sprayed that as well. So those are both ready to go, and it'll take 2 of those, 8 or 9 inch. I like to do them in an 8 inch. The recipe calls for a 9 inch, but it's either one will work. And so I have a cup and a half of butter, soft butter, not melted, but soft butter in my mixing bowl. And to that, I'm going to add 2 cups of sugar. And I am going to beat this until it's light and fluffy. And that will take several minutes. So you just have to be the judge. Usually it takes about 3 to 5 minutes, but part of that's your mixer, what speed you go at, so on and so forth. So that's where I'm at now. Okay, my mixture is pretty light colored. It changed kind of to a lemony color. And so now I'm ready for my next step, and that would be to add 5 eggs that are at room temperature. Turn this just a little bit. And you can do that one of 2 ways. You can either add them one at a time and mix in between each addition to get the eggs incorporated, or you can do like I've done, and you can slightly beat the eggs, and then you just need to add them in some intervals so that they get well mixed in. So now that I've got those mixed in, I'm going to add 2 different extracts. I have a teaspoon and a half of each of both vanilla and of almond extract. So I'm going to add those in, and that will be all of my wet ingredients. Now you're going to notice this is a little lumpy. It's not a real smooth mixture at this point, but that's okay. So I need to sift my flour and my other ingredients together, my soda, my baking powder, my salt. And when I do this, I'm using cake flour because it's a lot lighter grained. So I want to go ahead and sift my cake flour, my soda, my baking powder, and my salt together. And it takes 3 cups of the cake flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of salt, excuse me. So 3 cups. I always hate getting these out of the box. But I'm going to go ahead at this point and measure in my baking powder, my soda, and my salt. And 1 teaspoon. Teaspoon of salt. I do it this way sometimes just to make sure that it gets mixed in really well. And 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. So I'm going to sift these together and then add 1 more cup. So all 3 cups of my flour, my baking soda, my salt, and my baking powder are sifted together. So I'm going to start adding this slowly to this creamed mixture, and I'm going to add it alternately with 1 cup of cold whole milk. So you just want to do a little at a time with your mixer on. And again, I like to kind of do thirds. You want this at a low speed so that flour doesn't come up and get you. At this point, I'm done with the mixer. I want to go ahead and get all of that off my beater bar. And I'm going to scrape down the sides, and then all I have to do is add in my 4 ounces of coconut. And then this is ready to go in those 2 prepared pans divided evenly. And then we'll bake these at 350 until a toothpick comes out clean. And then I will come back and show you the icing that we'll put over the top of it. Okay, we made our coconut cake earlier, and now I'm ready to make the icing. I put it in 2 8-inch rounds. I baked that, I let it cool, and then I removed them from the pan. So for our icing that goes on this, in my mixer, excuse me, I have 2 sticks of soft butter, and to that I'm going to add 2 8-ounce packages of softened cream cheese. Don't want to open better than sometimes they do. There's 1. Should have had these opened earlier. It's been kind of a crazy day. Busy, busy. Okay. So I want to cream those together along with 2 of my extracts. I'm going to have vanilla and almond extract, and I want 3/4 of a teaspoon of my vanilla and just 1/4 of a teaspoon of the almond extract. I'm going to cream these together, and then all I have left to add to it is my powdered sugar. And my powdered sugar, I sifted 16 ounces of powdered sugar, and then I have 6 ounces of coconut that I'll put in this. So we'll start by creaming this until it's smooth, and then Oh, excuse me, I'm out of breath. And then our powdered sugar until that's smooth. And then I will sprinkle it with the coconut. Make sure I get that down from the sides. I'm going to begin with a layer of icing between my two layers. You don't need it very thick. Just kind of the glue that holds the top piece on. Okay, so then I will add the top piece and I will put icing down the sides and over the top, and then I will adhere the coconut to it. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Thanks for joining us for this session of Cooking with Some Friends. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And find us on Facebook at Cooking with Some Friends.